Welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to do a little product spotlight here on MOFO RC's wheels and wheel accessories. So he just recently expanded this line to add quite a few more accessory options, style options, width options. So there's just a ton of tuning available for these guys. And it looks like a lot of stuff here, and it is. I think I have everything here that he makes for these as an option, so we can go through and look at every little different piece and part. So we're gonna jump right in here, and I think the first thing to do is talk about the different wheel styles. Okay, let's jump into these different wheel styles. So first off, on the left, we've got his classic DDP, which stands for Deep Dish Premium. So you can see there, each half of the rim is almost the same, both fairly deep. There's a 9mm and an 8mm, so not much difference there, giving you 17 overall. Then you've got the new Super DDP, and it's got pretty unequal offset halves. So you've got a shallow face and a very deep face. So I believe that's a 5 and a 12mm to again give you that 17 total width. And then you've got these classic UPWs that he's had out, and that stands for Ultra Premium Wheel. And you can see here these are set up for Beadlock Rings. They're not included with the base wheel, but they're set up for those. So again, this has pretty equal halves. It's an 8 and a 9mm half. But you'd probably always run the Beadlock Ring in the outer position. You wouldn't flip those. But the DDPs, you can reverse. You can reverse any of them actually, but these are the ones you probably want to play with your offset. And then same ones over here, kind of assembled in the versions. As you can see, the different offsets of the face. So you got the UPWs, the Super DDPs, showing both faces, and then the classic DDP. So that's the first step, is figuring out which type of wheel you want and which color. Picking that out. These are all aluminum as the base package. So once you get that done, you move on to hubs. So let's take a look at hubs. Okay, hubs. So you can see here, you've got these interchangeable hubs. So this is the next thing you purchase after you pick out your wheel. So you've got 6mm offset, you've got a +3 offset, and then you've got basically a +0 offset. And you've got those in aluminum and brass, and you can see we get the scales here. So we're going to take a look at the weight difference in these hubs. So let's start with the 0mm. So we're looking at a 1.5 gram versus 4.5 gram. 3mm on there, 1.9 gram versus 5.8. So let's get the +6 on there. They're going to be bringing some weight. Yep, 8.8 grams for that brass, 2.8 for the aluminum. So all the aluminum stay fairly light, and then you really start to add that weight as you go with the deeper brass offset hubs. So that's your second selection, and you've got a complete DDP wheel at that point. For the UPWs, you do not. You've got to go one step further and pick out your ring. So let's take a look at the ring options. Okay, so you've picked out UPW rims, you've selected your hubs. So the next step is Beadlock Rings to choose. So you can see there's quite a few options. Quite a few more than there were. So right down the center under this silver UPW is the original aluminum ring designs, with this last one, the Super Duty, being reversible to being an all black solid. So that's your original choices in aluminum, and if you notice, they're a nice shiny polished finish. So then the new ones, these new aluminum styles, they're almost a satin aluminum finish. They're not a polished. See if I can get a good shot here. They're not shiny bright. So you've got a lot of new styles here to choose from. So then we just move over and all of the styles are offered in black brass. So that's what those are. And then the same for the originals. And what's really cool is the Super Duty and the cheese grater with the raw aluminum that's machined becomes raw brass. So that's kind of neat. So those are your options there. So that's the next thing you do is pick out some rings. So we're going to throw a few of those on the scales and see the weight differences. All right, let's do a few quick comparisons. So let's do the Super Duty first. It's probably the most solid, probably the heaviest. So 1.3 to 4.5, so about a 3 gram difference there. That's pretty good. Let's look at probably the lightest. 0.9 to 2.9. So again, 2 grams, not bad. And let's pick something in the middle. Let's take one of these new ones. Let's see. Man, yeah. So quite a bit of weight tuning. If you want to add a few grams to the wheels, just swap up to the brass, and that looks like about 2 to 3 grams no matter which ring you choose. So now you've got your rings. Are you done with your wheels? Possibly, but there are some more options to look at, so let's take a look at those. Here we are with the last potential option for your typical wheel sets. So these options will work with all 3 of the different styles shown here. So let's just say we've got a DDP, and we got a 6-inch aluminum. We've got a Super DDP with a 0 brass, and then we've got our UPW with a black brass ring and a 3+3 brass hub. So moving on from that, if you want some more weight, there's an optional brass ring set. So this is like 13.5 millimeters wide. So it's the exact same as the rings that come with these wheels stock. So you can just purchase a set of 4, and you've got quite a bit of weight here to add on. And we'll weigh those in a second. We'll get to these guys. These are the island style spacer kits. So it comes in brass and aluminum, and it's a +4 spacer that goes between each half of the hubs, and it comes with longer hardware for those hubs. So you get that with quite a bit of weight, and then you get just a lighter aluminum version as well. These end up being, I think, 17.5 millimeters, so you get that +4 ring to go with it. So that's an additional set, or an additional set to add that island style width. So let's turn this on and let's get a little weigh in here. So let's just take a stock aluminum ring and compare it to the stock brass width ring. So wow, you gain quite a bit of weight there. So let's compare that to the island style brass. So jumping up to 37.3 grams. So that is a lot. So let's just compare it to the aluminum island style. So not even double. So keeping it fairly lightweight right there. So that's nice. So you can see we've got quite a bit of different assemblies here. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is mount up each assembly on the same tire, and then we'll kind of weigh them in and just see, you know, what this range is of difference you can get. And this, you know, this is only 3 combinations. Obviously you've got way more combinations of weight to play with here, depending on your offset of hubs and your aluminum versus brass. So we'll add another, I'll pick a 4th and work that up and mount those, and then we'll take a look at those. All right, here we are. We've got all these wheels assembled. Got some Little Guy Racing tires on there. Got a Power Hobby Defender on the end, stock foams and everything. So this is a standard DDP with black hardware, an aluminum +6 hub, and it's got a brass internal ring. You can see the aluminum there. So that looks really good. So let's see what this guy weighs. 43.4 grams. That's pretty good with that brass internal ring. So the next one is a super DDP with the deep dish face outward. And I use silver hardware on this one, a +0 brass hub, and then that's it. 31.6 grams, coming in a little lighter using that brass or that aluminum internal ring. So this one is the first of the island style spacer kits. So you can see it stretches this tire quite a bit wider than the standard. You can see the bulge on the sidewall for sure. So this has black hardware on a silver face UPW with the +3 brass hub and then a brass outer ring with silver hardware. So 44.1 grams, so really close with that island style kit in aluminum to this brass ring internally. This was, I believe, 43.2, 44.1, so very close. And then we get to this super DDP, and this has the brass island style spacer kit, but I've got the shallow face outward, and I've got a +6 brass hub, but it's basically contained within the rim on the inside. And you can see this thing just looks super fat, that island style, and it's weighty. Wow, 67.2 grams. So that is on the top end of the scale of what you can build with these guys. So super heavy. And then the light end would be something like this. All aluminum, UPW, and aluminum +0 hub. Coming in at 27.3 grams. So that's the light end of the spectrum. That's the heavy end of the spectrum, and there's tons in between. So this is just great. So many options as far as design, as far as width, as far as offset. Nick said he would probably be offering a choice of color of hardware, so you can start to mix and match and design your faces a little more with that. So to me, that is just awesome. I think this is one of the best systems as far as tuning, and with the ability to just keep coming out with new ring styles, just keeps growing the line. So I'm excited to see what MOFO RC comes out with next as far as wheels and tires. Love the monster truck tires, so I wonder if they'll jump into some other smaller scale tires as well. But I think that's going to do it for this kind of overview. We've got this dually conversion hubs I didn't really get into. I think I'm going to save that for a separate video because this one kind of went long. A lot of information here. But as always, I appreciate you tuning in and watching. Hope you learned something. And stay tuned for something coming down the pipe. Thanks for watching.